Welcome to another episode of The Wireless Way. I'm your host, Chris Whitaker, and I'm very grateful that you're here today. I know you got a lot you could be doing. Hopefully, you're either enjoying your time, driving down the road, listening to this, traveling, or just taking a break, having some background noise, whatever it is. I'm glad you're listening. And I'm equally grateful for Joel Douglas. He's our guest today. And a little bit about Joel. He is the channel chief at PureTalk Business. You may have heard of PureTalk, but this is PureTalk Business. We'll get into that difference later, but it's a premium wireless provider dedicated to helping small and medium-sized businesses stay connected with reliable and affordable solutions. With a career spanning over a decade in the channel, including leadership roles at ScanSource and Intelisys. If you're on camera, if you're watching the video, I got my Intelisys shirt on. Joel brings deep expertise in building teams, driving business growth, and creating impactful partnerships. I can attest to that. Building his professional achievements, Joel is a dedicated family man, an active community leader, and even a real estate investor. Maybe we could get into that. So get ready for a insightful conversation with a leader who knows how to turn vision into action. Joel, welcome to the show. Glad we were able to get this together.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed getting to know you over the last few months, and so I'm excited to do this with you. I appreciate you having me.
If you haven't been keeping up, probably week 6 here at Intelisys for me. Wireless with a new home, a long-term home is the plan. And it's been amazing. So one of the highlights, like on week 1, was meeting you and getting to know you. We've done two events now, I guess 3 if you want to count a boat ride. But it's been a pleasure. And of course, I love the mission that Pure Talk Business is on. I love what you're doing. I love what you stand for. I love your background. Yeah, so there's a lot here. We should have a lot of steam here to push forward. And as always, the first question I love to ask is, what's not in the bio? How did you get here?
Great question. My career started in sales right out of college, and people close to me know this, but my first job right out of school was selling high-end custom clothing, which is a unique offering, very niche. I learned a ton in that role. And the reason that I bring that up is I had a great mentor in that role, a guy who taught me how to sell, a guy who taught me how to ask the right questions. And a lot of that has spilled over to the way that I operate as a leader today and how I engage potential customers and our partners by trying to ask questions first and then trying to understand what solutions we can bring to the table to solve whatever problems they have. Started in custom clothing. I did that for a couple of years. Then I was a financial advisor for a few years, which was great skills to learn how to build out programs and unique offerings, exclusive or custom offerings for people around their financial needs. Learned a ton there. And then one day I decided to leave that industry and started looking for a new job. And had several friends that worked at Synex. I thought for sure I could get in the door at Synex, which those of you in the channel probably know that Synex competes a little bit with ScanSource, and was on a job site, applied to ScanSource, didn't really think a whole lot of it, and got a call back and ended up having 3 interviews in one day with ScanSource. And I thought, oh man, maybe there's something here. And so fast forward 14 years, I had the opportunity to start at ScanSource in their security practice and hold a number of different roles, as you mentioned, throughout my time there. A couple leadership roles in sales, several on the supplier side, getting to know a lot of the suppliers. So as you mentioned, most recently, about 2.5 years out of that 14 was spent with Intelisys. And I think that was a huge opportunity for me to learn a different side of the business, more the services side of the business. And through that, had the opportunity to meet the team at PureTalk. I was fortunate enough to onboard them at Intelisys and got to know them really well. And they started their 100% channel. I think that is something that I do want to point out that's unique about PureTalk is we are 100% channel. Our PureTalk consumer brand is direct to consumer, but our PureTalk business brand, 100% channel. So I think that's important for the advisor community to know. And I'll also throw in a plug there for Intelisys today. Our only route to market through the TSD or Technology Solution Distributor channel is through Intelisys, which has been a great partnership for us. Had the opportunity to engage with you, a lot of the business development reps, bringing opportunities to us. So I want to say thank you to Intelisys for the engagement, to the BDM team there for bringing us quite a few opportunities. That was how I started my career in the channel and had the opportunity to move over to PureTalk to help them build out their channel program about 9 months ago. And I just learned a ton. I went from being in a place where suppliers were chasing Intellisys, trying to engage, and now move over to I'm the one doing the chasing. So it's a different seat that I sit in, but I have learned a ton. Very thankful for the PureTalk team. They've taught me a lot about mobility, which I did not have a background in mobility. So I feel like that was a little bit unique stepping into this role. But the whole goal is to build out the channel program for them. And I feel like we're making strides every day as we do that.
No, you absolutely are making strides every day. I've just in the short time I've known you, I can see it, I feel it. And what a great story, man. Maybe this is why we get along so well. We're cut from the same cloth. I call it pivoting. If you know my background, 10 years in the Army, I thought I was going to be G.I. Joe for 30 years, but somehow or another, I woke up one morning after 10 years going, you know what? I think I've ridden this pony as long as I can. I need to do something different. Got into cable and fiber. 17-year career. Yeah, you started it up. Yes, I'm that old, but 17 years, I was a circuit slinger. And then, I don't know, about 9 years ago, I get another call and I pivoted. It's 8, maybe it's 8. I pivoted again from cable and fiber to all things wireless and IoT. And people know me as Wireless Way. Now this great show that I'm so thankful for going on 5 years called The Wireless Way. But life is a series of pivots. And that's how you keep it interesting. That's how you keep growing. And I don't know, I got friends and family members that have been doing the same job, same company, 10, 20, 30 years, whatever. Nothing wrong with that if that's your thing. But I'm telling you, man, it's fun and exciting when you pivot, you make new changes, you expand your horizons. So good. Great job there. I can relate to that. So with that experience, like you said, you've been on the other side of the fence, you've been on the TSD side, you've talked to partners and understand their needs. And even the last 9 months or so, you've been talking to partners from the PureTalk perspective. What are some of your key takeaways that a partner listening might benefit from? Any advice for a partner, a trust advisor that is predominantly selling landline connectivity and dial tone, and they're like, you know what? I need to pivot. I need to get into mobility. What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chris. I think the biggest advice I would give them, and then I'll expand on them a little bit, is somebody is selling your customer mobility or they're consuming it somewhere. Why shouldn't it be through you? And I think one of the biggest pieces of feedback that I get from trusted advisors, especially with a PureTalk offering, which we tend to focus on the SMB market, which we call 5 to 100 users, somewhere in that space. We can move upstream, but really where we focus, and I can explain why we got into this niche a little bit later, but the SMB market, a lot of trusted advisors look at that and say, that's a small dollar amount for what they consider to be a potentially big headache. And I would agree with them. If they're getting into the consumer side of mobility, I would steer clear of it. That has the potential to be a lot of headache. What I really appreciate about PureTalk Business and something that we continue to improve on every day, how do we make it easy for that trusted advisor to go into their current customer base and have the opportunity to provide value to their customer on something that their customer is already consuming, probably from someone else. So the way that we do that in trying to make it easy is all we need from the trusted advisor is to get a copy of their customer's bill. And I'll share a quick story with you. We had a trusted advisor get a copy of a customer's bill. This was for about 70 lines. And this customer had not done a bill audit in quite a long time. So they sent the bill over to us. We did a review. The customer was paying about $3,800 a month with a large national carrier. We did a bill review and our quote came in just over $2,000. So we were able to save them about $1,800 a month on their current mobility plan, keep them on a major carrier network. So we have no deprioritization in our offering. So still great service, and then provide them with a dedicated customer service rep and make it really easy for them to move over to PureTalk Business. So really, If you can get a copy of the bill, bring it to us, let us do the heavy lifting, then you get to go back and present that savings to your customer. And then we handle the onboarding. We handle the transition of the migration of their SIM cards and all of that sort of stuff for you. And a really cool thing about us is we have 100% US based customer service. And so I find that is huge in this marketplace. We really try to take the guesswork out of you presenting an offering or a solution to your customer. And oftentimes they're not thinking about it. It's typically a headache. They don't know how to read the bill. They don't want to mess with it. And when you as a trusted advisor can come in and say, hey, look, I can potentially save you money and make this really easy on you, I think it creates a compelling story.
No, absolutely it does. And I love that approach. So we opened the conversation below a bit about the ideal client profile. And I like your answer because I already know it, but I want you to share it with us. Tell us about that, and then I'll comment profile.
So the ideal client profile for the trusted advisor that is thinking, okay, let me dip my toe into this world of mobility with PureTalk Business. Who do I even start talking to? So some of the areas, as I mentioned before, small to medium business is really where our focus is. If you want to break that down even more, anybody that is a veteran-owned business, and I can touch on that. We're a veteran-owned business. Our founder is a Vietnam veteran, and then blue collar. So blue collar companies like your HVAC companies, lawn care companies, construction companies, those companies tend to be really great customers for us. They have the same value proposition that we have and tend to be great customers for us. And then from a seat count or a handheld count, you're talking anywhere from 5 to 100 lines. We've come into some opportunities in the 250, 300 line range, and we can still work with those customers. And in fact, we still tend to see a 20% or more savings, even as you move upstream in the number of handhelds that you would need. So really, the ideal customer being 5 to 100, small to medium business, blue collar, veteran owned. If you know of some customers of yours that fit into that profile, that's exactly where I'd start.
Man. And fortunately, I feel like that's a much bigger group of prospects than most people with the Fortune 500s. And I tell suppliers all the time, and even reminding my team when I was on that supplier side, the problem with the Fortune 500, there's only 500 of them and everybody wants them. And they have very unique, customized needs and all that. So it's great to hear a solution finally for the SMB, the small entrepreneurial, solopreneur shops. There's a lot of businesses are starting up, and to have a level of service that you guys give at the rates you charge is just unheard of almost. So it's really a great situation to be in. Tell me a little bit more about how would you say PureTalk's different than the big three? Any other things that make it unique?
Yeah, I think some of the value add that we bring is being 100% channel. I'll mention that again. I mentioned it earlier, but you're never going to compete with us on a deal. We do not have a direct sales force at all. I know that the big three are in the channel, and I often get asked, okay, what's the rules of engagement? This from the trusted advisors. What's the rules of engagement from a direct sales standpoint? And thankfully, I have to say, we don't have one. So you don't have to worry about that piece of a direct sales force competing with you. Another thing I would add that I touched on earlier is the 100% US-based customer service. I think I'll probably mention that again at some point in time because I really feel like that's a unique value add for us, especially in that SMB space. You think about, to your earlier point, people really want to focus on those large opportunities. Hey, I want to chase the big deals. And yes, if you land a big deal, you can put a lot of money in your pocket on that one deal. But if you're looking to build a business over time, that's where I feel like PureTalk is a unique offer because we really do focus on that SMB market. And our plan is, or our goal is to provide a high level of customer service to a forgotten or misrepresented market, which is the SMB market. If you look at a lot of the providers today, they will tell you, bring us the 500 line deals, bring us the 1,000 line deals. And we specifically say, bring us the 10 line deal, bring us the 25 line deal. We'll execute at a high level of proficiency. And we will give them a dedicated customer service rep, which is, again, almost unheard of in this industry. Again, 100% US based, that they can connect with on a regular basis. Again, that's another opportunity for the trusted advisor to be engaged, but not feel like they have to be that first line of defense. If there is a question, we give that dedicated customer service rep to each end user customer so that we can help that trusted advisor take some of that potential follow-up questions or whatever off their plate.
Fantastic. So I guess just obviously check out puretalk.com for all the details and the rates. And then there's a business tag you can click on for business information, right?
Correct. Yeah. So there's puretalk.com is our consumer side, PureTalk business being the business side. And so I'll put a plug in for the consumer side. If you're listening to this and you think, hey, I don't have a business, but I'm still intrigued by PureTalk, please go visit puretalk.com. You can see all the rates and offerings there. And was going to touch on it a little bit later, but I'll throw it in here for anyone that is an active military member or retired military member. We do offer a 15% discount both on PureTalk Consumer and the PureTalk Business brands. We would love for you as military veterans and to take advantage of that offering that we have.
That's excellent. That's very nice of you to do. I support that 100%. And going back to the profile and for selling partners, if you're listening, yeah, you might think you're not going to retire off a 50 phone deal, but one, it adds up. You're going to sell multiple of them more than likely. And not only that, you're helping your client. Your client they need your help. A lot of them, they don't audit their phone bills. You can ask the question, hey, when's the last time you audited your phone bill? I ask that question a lot to partners and prospects, and they're like, man, forget the business. I'm having a hard time with my family plan. It's 50 pages long. It's only 4 phones on it. I don't even know what I'm being charged for. So there's a lot of reasons to ask the question, how often you audit your phone bill? Are you happy with your carrier? Are you getting the support you need? Would you like to save some money and repurpose that money into other technologies? Or put it at the bottom line. It could go to the profit margin now if you're spending $1,800 less for that one example.
Chris, you made a good point, and it's something I meant to bring up is we try to find the intersection of cost savings and then also providing value to provide a total solution. And typically what I recommend to trusted advisors is, hey, let's at least do a bill audit for your customer. And then you'll have the opportunity to say, hey, look, I saved you X amount of dollars here. And that's great. But on top of the cost savings, you get to then come in and say, hey, look, there's another component of your business I've been meaning to talk to you about, and it is cybersecurity or a UCaaS or CCaaS solution. I just provided X amount of dollars of 40% savings. Why don't we utilize a portion of that savings to help you update whatever it is and some sort of technology solution I've been wanting to talk to them about, but maybe scared to say, hey, they've already spent a lot of money with me. I know they're budget conscious. Working with PureTalk allows you to go back and say, I just saved you 40% on your mobility bill. Why don't we repurpose some of that into another technology solution that is ultimately going to help them drive revenue for their business? And so that's something that I try to remind trusted advisors is you can look at it 2 different ways. Take it to the bottom line, which people always appreciate, or utilize the savings to upgrade another component of their technology that maybe they've been neglecting just due to costs.
And this is a service that's on America's cellular network. 5G is available still, everywhere you'd expect domestic cell service to be. How about, I think we talked briefly once, not many of us are lucky enough to do international travel, but if they go to Europe or leave the country, are there international roaming plans that they can pay separately for?
Absolutely, yes. So we operate a little bit different. We offer a credit back on your bill for usage internationally. But yes, we have an international that's tied into your plan, just like other carriers provide. Again, the offering is a little bit different, but coverage internationally as well. And so a lot of the offerings that you're going to find from the major carriers, we're going to offer something very similar, maybe our little spin on it, but something very similar. We also are partnered with Apple and Samsung to provide devices. And we do run promotions and different subsidies to be able to offset some of the expense on those devices. So again, our goal is to provide that same level of offerings and cell coverage as you would get from a major carrier, but make it a lot easier. And really, when you get your bill, you're going to be able to read your bill, see exactly what it is. There's no hidden charges in it. I think that's one of the things that after people start working with us, they really appreciate, and tends to be a reason why people avoid the conversation altogether is, hey, I don't even want to talk about this because I can't read my bill. Well, let us solve that for you. We'll read it for you, give you a quote, and then moving forward, that PureTalk bill will be very easy to read. You know exactly what you have. We don't charge overages, which I think is a unique offering that we have. If you look at our base plan, typically where we win is people are overpaying for things that they aren't using. And I often find people ask, how can you provide cost savings? Most people are on unlimited plans and they think I need an unlimited plan. Unlimited doesn't necessarily mean what it used to 5 or 6 years ago. Wi-Fi is prevalent pretty much anywhere. You go into a coffee shop, you go in the airport, you're at your house. There's a lot of people working from home. That is where we come in and say, hey, look, the data that you're actually using is extremely minimal. And our base plan, which is $30 a month, gives you 20 gigs. The average consumer is using sub 10 gigs. And so you get the opportunity to save money and spend money on what you're actually using versus just signing up for an unlimited plan because that's what the carrier wants you to do. So that's typically where we win. We do provide a portal both for the end user and for the agent, so the trusted advisor, to manage their business and manage their plans. They can move up and down their plans if they need to based on usage. So we make it really easy for them should they need to move their plan up because they need more data.
That's great. That's great. Pivoting one more time, changing gears. BYOD, bring your own device. It's a pretty popular, that a lot, especially in that SMB sector. Maybe the company says, hey, we'll give you $30, $40 to pay for your phone and all. But there's one problem with that, well, there's a few problems with that actually, but biggest problem that I see with that, especially for sales organizations, you have your top dog sales guy or gal using their own phone, a number they own, and they build a big book of business. They learn all your processes. They know your pricing. Then one day they get mad and quit and go work for the competitor. Now all your customers are calling your former employee working at your competitor, and that's a problem. So if I'm a business owner with 10 salespeople, or even if you're in insurance or some kind of regulated industry where you want to show your customers that you're safeguarding the information and whatnot, you can do a SIM only, right? And do and maybe over there provisioning and provisioning a second line on your BYOD phone. So that's the card, that's the phone number that's put on the business card. That's the phone number that they're required to give out or whatnot. Yeah, come on. Every sales guy or gal probably still says that, by the way, it's my personal number in case you ever get a hold of me. But don't make it easy on them. At least to make them where it's a company number. And by the way, if you're giving them that second line, you don't have to pay the stipends or the overage or the T&E. You're just saying, okay, I provided a SIM for your personal phone, and when you leave the organization, we'll just turn it off. And you keep your phone, and I keep my number. This next salesperson takes that phone number, and guess what? The next salesperson's get the calls probably. Anyway, it's just interesting how companies have no problem with that concept. But it's good to know you guys can work. You can provide a SIM only, right?
So SIM only. We do physical SIM and eSIM, so we can provide either one. And to your point, a lot of companies will pay a stipend. It just, hey, I don't want to manage that. The great thing about working with us is over time, it's probably going to be less expensive for you to actually give them a cell phone or give them a SIM card. Again, all that information is now tied to that SIM and that phone number. And then because we do provide significant cost savings, a lot of times you can just incorporate an MDM solution over the top. Again, that's where that trusted advisor comes into play to say, hey, look, let's keep your data secure. Let's make sure all this stays in-house, and oftentimes do it cheaper providing an MDM solution with a PureTalk solution, and do it cheaper than what they're providing from a subsidy standpoint. While most of our business is business that migrates from a carrier, we have several instances where people are starting up new opportunities or new engagements saying, I want to protect my data. I want to be in control of it. I don't want to pay that stipend anymore. So that is another opportunity. Even if somebody says, oh, we just pay a stipend, there's a further conversation to be had there around security and different things like that, that I think is really important to have in today's society.
Absolutely. So yeah, we wrap it up. It's been a great conversation. We've covered a lot of ground. Any last words or anything we haven't talked about yet that you wanted to get out?
Yeah, I think I'll talk about something PureTalk related, and then I'll throw a personal plug in at the end. But one thing I do want to mention specifically around being a veteran-owned business is I'm active in my local community as far as charity goes. And one thing I want to point out is I use the term put your money where your mouth is. And I do want to call out the fact that PureTalk, parent company Telluride, has contributed over $330,000 to help veterans in need through America's Warriors Partnership. And then in 2023, I believe, we gave over $10 million to the Forgive Co. organization to help wipe out veteran debt. So just some things when I think about a company that I work for and want to be proud of the company that I work for and associated with, those are some things that I'm proud of. Again, we do offer that discount to veterans, so please take us up on that. And so I'm very thankful that I work for a company that also finds a way to give back to local communities. That's something about PureTalk. And then a plug I'll put in for myself. You mentioned real estate earlier. If you're ever looking for an opportunity to visit a great property, we run an Airbnb up in a place called Mountain Rest, South Carolina, which is about an hour and a half from Greenville, where I live. And so it is called The Retreat. You can find it on Airbnb, but it sits right on the lake. Great little property. That's a personal plug that I'll put in. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to me, but we would love to host you. My family and I love going up there when we get the chance, but just thought I would share that as well.
It's called The Retreat on Airbnb.
Yep. So The Retreat, if you just look, Mountain Rest, South Carolina, not many people have heard of it, but it's a great little sleeper town right on the lake in the mountains. So we are quite peaceful.
And say the name of the city again?
Mountain Rest. So outside Clemson.
Oh, Mountain Rest.
About 20 outside of Clemson.
Fantastic. I will be checking that out. I may have to take you up on that myself.
Yeah.
Joel, it's been a pleasure, man. We've covered a lot. Again, there's more to discuss, I imagine, but if you're listening and you have questions, check the show notes. I'll have some links there for you. Of course, puretalk.com is always a great place to get information. And Joel Douglas on LinkedIn. I'll include your contact there as well. I really appreciate your time today, Joel. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris. It's been great to get to know you. I look forward to our continued success together. And so thank you for putting us together.
You bet, man. It's my pleasure. And there you go. Another episode of The Wireless Way. And as always, surely you were listening along. At some point, something jumped out at you. Something made you think of somebody. Share this episode with a colleague, a friend, a family member, maybe a prospect. Love it when you can share the information. Always make sure you are following and subscribing at your favorite podcast platform. And check out the wirelessway.net. It's my website, the wirelessway.net. And there's a contact us button on there. If you have a question about a former guest, you want to be a guest, or just want to know more information about the work we're doing here at Intelligence, I'd love to have that kind of a dialogue with you. So again, thanks so much for checking out this episode, and we'll see you next time on The Wireless Way.